idea to turn The Night Manager into a miniseries. After all, the book is more than 20 years old, it's still so tight.
Yes, we're talking about historic age.
Could you please hold the microphone?
Sorry. Does it work now? I think I wrote the book about 23 years ago. I didn't, of course, set it in the Middle East. In those days, it was set in a much more interesting world than it is now, but it was arms with drugs in Latin America. I took the story up to northern Quebec. I followed Pine's steps through a different path. The miracle of this production, in my view, I'm here on the false pretenses, I didn't make it. The miracle is that it's pursued the same path by a different route, but it's the same path ultimately.
So Suzanne, do you maybe want to tell us when you got involved in the project?
Well, I saw a caption of a script and it said John le Carré, and I just said, I have to do it. And then I realized that Hugh Laurie and Tom Hiddleston was involved, and I thought that triangle was absolutely irresistible. And then I had a Skype conversation, and he actually didn't have a chance. I just
Point about the Skype conversation. I was in a kitchen in Los Angeles. Susanna was in her library in Copenhagen. Very cleverly positioned. She is a director after all. Just in the top right-hand corner of her screen was an Academy Award. Gave me a little hint as to her talents. In the top right-hand corner of my screen was some of my wife's cakes.
Well, I mean, it was just totally by chance.
And how did you guys work together on the script? You got involved after reading like the first draft of the first script, and then how did it get on from that point?
Well, then rather quickly, a script came in, and we, basically, that first script was there before Christmas, and there was a window where Tom and Hugh were both available, which I think ran from March to June. So it was like, all right, it needs to happen, and it needs to happen super, super fast, and it did.
Tom, as you got attached that early to that project, how familiar were you with John Carrey's world before, and what was your reaction when you got offered?
I was familiar, not specifically with The Night Manager, but with the Smiley novel, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, and I read those as a teenager. My father had those on his bookshelf and enjoyed them enormously. And I read the first script of the first episode, which was a very short 60-page document, and found it immediately compelling. I was so drawn into the character of Pine and the world of the film, and I just wanted to play it. And I met with Simon and Stephen, and I said, what can I do to play Jonathan Pine? And I think Hugh at the same time was doing the same thing, so we both jumped on board and stayed on board.
That worked out pretty well. So Hugh,
I also wanted to play Jonathan Pine.
Sorry,
it's
man.
kind of hard. I mean, about that role of Rover, it's such a fascinating villain, I'd say, because he's so deeply immoral and yet so charming in a way. How did you approach? How did you approach such a role?
I had loved the novel. I read it when it was published in 1993, and I adored it then as I adore it now. And although I did back then, harbour dreams of playing Jonathan Pine, never mind. Go. I thought the entire gallery of characters was so beautifully painted, and they were so memorable to me. I remembered whole chunks of the novel. I thought Roper, I felt as if I knew Roper instantly. The moment he appeared on the page, I felt as if I'd never met anyone like this, but I felt I knew him. Corcoran, I thought, was one of the greatest characters I'd ever read in any novel. I just thought he just had so many elements, so many notes and harmonics were present in that character. And I loved it all. I just thought it was such a beautiful story, such a romantic story about something that mattered and matters still, and matters no less than it did then. And I was in. I would have done anything. I would have played any character. I would have played Jed if I'd had a chance.
About that beautiful set of characters, I have one question for Olivia as well. Because in the original novel, Burr is actually a male character. And how would you say making Burr a female character changed the dynamic of the setting?
Well, I wouldn't have got the job had it remained a male character. So I'm very grateful for taking it. But I think it's because Burr and Roper in particular or Burr and Pine and Roper are the absolute antithesis of each other. So it seemed to make sense to me to go the whole hog and be the opposite gender as well. And I think I am eternally grateful that I got part, and I think it works that she's a woman.
So I guess this would be a good time to open it up to the audience. So if you have any questions, just raise your hands. We have 2 microphones in the room. There's a question right here.
Thank you. First, I want to say thank you all, to all of you for coming here, especially Tom for flying in from down under, as I understand. And actually I have a question. Maybe you flew in from up.
Would you like some champagne with that, sir? It's such an honour to have you on the flight.
Next time, try to talk back. Sorry. Anyway, my question is for Tom, and I wanted to ask.
Sorry, what was the question?
Okay. Yes. I wanted to ask if it's okay to ask something unrelated about unrelated, which is an early movie of yours, if you remember. Okay. And it's a question that has haunted me for a long time, actually. It's a 2-parter. One part is after the big row with Oakley's father. There's a scene in the fields, and I can see the wheels turning. And there are scratches on your neck, and I wanted to know how. It's not gonna go any further than that. Don't worry, Mr. Roy. Okay. So, just how violent did the fight with your father get in that movie? And why do people keep calling you Tom in the movie?
I think this is probably an answer for another day.
Yes.
Thank you very much, and we're seeing it also for the first time on an enormous screen, and it does look breathtaking. Congratulations to everyone. But I hope we do have the opportunity to show it all on the big screen. Yes.
Any more questions? Here's one. On the night manager.
Please.
Sorry, I got a question to Tom. I see you in many movies. You're a brilliant actor. Thank you for all your films. And my question is, you play in a movie before, High Rise?
I'm sure you want to keep going with that question.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, do you like this genre?
This genre?
Thriller.
Yes, very much. Thank you. The question was, do I like spy thrillers? Well done. And the answer to that is yes, I do. Actually, this is a nice little segue. Is that we are. We find ourselves, all of us, in the company of a master and someone. All of our understanding of spies and the world of spies. We perhaps may know or may not know that most of that understanding comes from this man.
That was a question.
I promise not to do a question about Stuart Little, Mr. Laurie. No, this is a question to the entire cast. How difficult was it to remain serious on set? Because as you've just demonstrated, it's must be quite a lot of fun spending time with you all. So between Mr. Hollander, who chews the scenery, and oh yes. And yeah, how much fun did you have on set, and how difficult was it to remain serious?
It was more fun than this. I mean, there was good chat.
There was another question. Let's just keep it rolling. Oh, I'm sorry. No, the microphone's right there. So let's get to that.
I want to thank John Le Carré, and I want to ask you: are you satisfied how they managed you? That you are satisfied with my on big screen?
Am I satisfied? Never. We're all shooting for perfection. I have to say again, I'm here under false pretenses. I had a very small part in the early discussions about how this would go forward. And after that, I took a backseat, a real backseat. And I'm here really because I want to celebrate a beautiful artistic performance.